What if the biggest breakthrough in your intimate relationship didn't require learning something completely new, but simply changing one small detail that most men never think about? After working with hundreds of couples over the years, I've discovered that many men are only a slight adjustment away from creating a much deeper level of connection with their partners. It isn't about athletic ability, lasting longer, or trying complicated techniques. It's about understanding how the female body naturally responds and learning how to move together instead of simply going through familiar motions. I'm Dr. Leah, a urologist with over 15 years of experience helping men improve their intimate health, confidence, and relationships through evidence-based guidance. One thing I've consistently observed is that most men genuinely want to please their partners, but they're relying on information that's incomplete. They're taught to focus on performance when they should be paying closer attention to connection, rhythm, and communication. In today's video, I'll introduce you to a simple alignment technique that researchers have been studying for decades. Although the adjustment is subtle, many couples report that it creates a noticeable difference in comfort, closeness, and shared satisfaction. I'll explain why this method works, how to practice it correctly, and the common mistakes that prevent many couples from experiencing its full benefits. Before we get into the technique itself, it's important to understand why so many men unknowingly leave their partners feeling less satisfied than they could be. The problem usually isn't effort or desire. More often, it's a lack of accurate information about how a woman's body functions. Once you understand that difference, everything else begins to make much more sense. And even a small change can completely transform the experience for both of you. Now let's talk about the technique itself. I want to reassure you before we begin that this isn't some complicated method requiring exceptional flexibility or athletic ability. In fact, when you first see it, it looks very similar to a traditional face-to-face position. The difference is so subtle that many couples don't even realize they're doing anything differently. Yet that small adjustment can significantly improve comfort, closeness, and overall satisfaction. The method is commonly known as the alignment technique. Rather than focusing primarily on repetitive forward motion, it emphasizes positioning the bodies so they remain naturally connected throughout the experience. The goal isn't greater intensity. The goal is creating more consistent contact with the areas of the female body that are naturally most responsive to gentle stimulation. Research published over several decades has suggested that this type of positioning may improve satisfaction for many couples because it encourages continuous contact instead of intermittent contact. Rather than relying on speed or force, the movement becomes smoother, slower, and much more coordinated between both partners. Here's the basic idea. Instead of remaining in the usual body position, the man shifts slightly higher so the pelvis aligns more naturally with his partner's external sensitive structures. This subtle repositioning allows the movement to create consistent stimulation without requiring additional effort or exaggerated motion. The change may appear minor, but small adjustments often produce meaningful results because they work with the body's natural anatomy instead of against it. Many couples describe the experience as feeling more connected, more relaxed, and less focused on performance. What's especially interesting is that this approach encourages both partners to participate equally. Instead of one person doing all the work while the other simply responds, both bodies begin moving together in a shared rhythm. And that's exactly where the next step becomes important, because positioning alone isn't enough. The way you move together is what truly brings the technique to life. Once you've found the proper alignment, the next step is even more important: rhythm. Many men believe that faster movement creates a better experience, but that's often where they lose the sense of connection. The alignment technique isn't built around speed. It's built around consistency, patience, and moving together as one coordinated unit. Begin in a comfortable face-to-face position and take a moment to relax. Instead of rushing into movement, pay attention to your partner's breathing and allow your own breathing to slow naturally. This creates a calmer atmosphere where both of you can become more aware of each other's responses instead of focusing on performance. After adjusting your body slightly higher into the alignment position, replace forceful thrusting with a gentle rocking motion. Think of it as allowing your pelvis to glide smoothly rather than driving forward repeatedly. The movement should feel controlled, comfortable, and continuous, almost like two people swaying together to a slow piece of music. One of the biggest advantages of this rhythm is that it encourages both partners to participate naturally. As one body moves, the other responds, creating a shared pattern instead of one person trying to control the entire experience. Many couples describe this as feeling less mechanical and much more emotionally connected because neither person is rushing to reach an outcome. Don't be afraid to let your partner influence the pace. If she naturally slows down, slow down with her. If she gently increases the rhythm, follow that rhythm together rather than trying to take over. These small adjustments communicate attentiveness and help both partners remain comfortable throughout the experience. Remember, the goal isn't perfect technique. It's creating an experience where both people feel relaxed, understood, and connected. Once that rhythm develops naturally, many couples discover that communication becomes easier without saying very much at all. In the next section, we'll look at another variation of this technique that allows the woman to guide the movement even more naturally while maintaining the same principles of alignment and connection. There's another variation of the alignment technique that many couples find especially comfortable because it gives the woman greater control over the pace and movement. Rather than one partner directing everything, this approach allows her to naturally adjust the rhythm based on what feels most comfortable for her body. For many couples, that added sense of control creates a more relaxed and enjoyable experience. In this variation, the woman is positioned on top while both partners remain facing each other. Because of the natural angle created in this position, maintaining consistent alignment often becomes easier without requiring constant adjustments. Instead of trying to guide every movement yourself, your role becomes one of support and responsiveness. Keep your body relaxed and stable. Place your hands gently around her waist or hips, not to direct her movements, but to provide balance and reassurance. Allow her to settle into a rhythm that feels natural before making any adjustments of your own. Once she establishes that comfortable pace, simply move with her rather than attempting to control the experience. This is where many men notice a significant shift in mindset. Instead of asking, "What should I do next?" they begin paying attention to what their partner is already communicating through her breathing, body language, and subtle movements. These nonverbal cues often provide far more useful guidance than trying to follow a fixed technique. Your hands can also play an important supporting role. Gentle, respectful touch that follows the same slow rhythm helps reinforce the feeling of closeness. Rather than becoming separate actions, breathing, movement, and touch begin working together as one coordinated experience. Most importantly, remain patient. Don't interrupt the rhythm by suddenly increasing speed or changing direction unnecessarily. The more relaxed both partners become, the easier it is for the body to respond naturally. In the next section, we'll discuss the most common mistakes couples make when trying this technique for the first time and how avoiding them can dramatically improve the overall experience. Even the most effective technique can lose its benefits if a few common mistakes get in the way. Over the years, I've noticed that these mistakes aren't usually caused by a lack of care. In fact, most men are trying their best. They simply haven't been taught what to pay attention to. Once you recognize these habits, they're surprisingly easy to correct. The first mistake is moving too quickly. Many men assume that increasing speed will increase pleasure, but in reality, rushing often disrupts the natural rhythm that allows both partners to stay connected. The alignment technique works best when movement is slow, controlled, and intentional. Giving your bodies time to stay in sync usually creates a much more satisfying experience than constantly changing pace. The second mistake is avoiding communication. Every woman experiences intimacy differently, so there isn't a single rhythm or level of pressure that's perfect for everyone. Simple questions such as, "Does this feel comfortable?" or "Would you like me to slow down?" Create an environment where your partner feels heard and respected. Open communication often strengthens emotional connection just as much as physical touch. Another common mistake is becoming too focused on performance. When your attention is consumed by thoughts about whether you're doing everything correctly, you stop noticing your partner's natural responses. Instead, pay attention to her breathing, facial expressions, body language, and gentle movements. These subtle signals often tell you far more than any technique ever could. Finally, don't become discouraged if the first attempt doesn't feel perfect. Like learning any new skill, it takes practice for both partners to become comfortable with a different rhythm. Be patient with yourselves, keep communicating, and allow each experience to build naturally on the last. In the next section, I'll explain why this slower, more connected approach can be especially beneficial for men over 50, and how age may actually become an advantage rather than a limitation.